Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Advisor Southeast Asian podcast. Gwen here, and today I have a financial advisor from Malaysia. She is a licensed financial or certified financial advisor. She also holds the Capital Market Services Representative's license. And aside from that, she is also a certified results coach. So I'm really excited to talk to her about all of these things. Please help me welcome Selina Dang. Hello, Selina.
Hi, Gwen.
All right. And thank you so much for being here in the podcast. I really love to hear about all of the things that you have to offer to us in terms of knowledge, because you have been in the industry for quite some time. So I wanted to ask, by the way, or I just want to start this podcast by asking, like, how long have you been in the industry?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's my privilege, Gwen, to be speaking to you today.
Yeah.
Yes, when you talk about the financial planning industry, I've actually got my financial planning license in 2015. That will be my CMSRL. So that will be about, say, 6 years now.
Oh,
That's right.
But before that, you have been like in the field of financial services for a while, right? Because I know in Malaysia you have to have experience in a certain financial role before you can become a financial advisor.
Yeah, actually, I was the director of a healthcare facility. So at that point of time, I was like basically responsible for the daily running of the company. So mainly, management issues and financials, taxes, and all that. But that was from company's level.
Yeah,
That's right.
So you started there in like a company. How did you get into financial advice?
I think it all started as part of my personal development. And the subject of personal finances, it actually came about as I was regularly planning, and trying to optimize my family's financial situation. And looking back, I actually think was that at that point I was approached by different people, and they were insurance agents. We call them agents here, or some people would actually call them financial advisors, like insurance advisors. You have our unit trust agents, tax advisors, and so on. And each of them, they were like selling their own products and services. They were like individuals, and I ended up with this huge pile of quotations, investment fact sheets and so on to digest. And I remember then, I ended up like kind of confused with the choices that I had. And I even spent long hours and long days, analyzing and comparing the plans, the proposals, and the quotations that were given to me before I even decide on what I thought may be the best decision at that point of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even as a director of this healthcare facility, I understood about company budgets and cash flow management, insurance, taxes, and so on. And I was also investing a lot of time to do my own investments. Okay. However, I noticed that being able to integrate all this money management and investing with the other areas of my financial situation at that time, such as like insurance and personal taxes, and planning for my children's education funds, for my retirement planning, estate planning, and so on, and to find the most effective mix, that was the real challenge to me. How I were to integrate all these things into one whole big bundle.
Yeah.
I came from a humble background, we were huge savers, and we had also constantly worry about like money was never enough, that kind of thing. Yeah. And at that point, there was a lot of fear and limiting beliefs when it came to money, whether I was making the right decisions, whether I was kind of like going down the right road, And I think it all stemmed from the fact that I didn't understand the idea of a wholesome financial plan back then. Yeah. And so how did I get into advice? I think it was then in my quest to learn more about personal finance, a close friend of mine who is a certified financial planner, and she understood what I was going through, so we were having sort of like talk, discussion. I was like constantly telling her all these problems that I had, and she said, hey, why don't you go and register, for the certified financial planning program? Okay, because whatever, the gap that I see, the problem that I see that you have, okay, is actually it can be solved by a certified financial planner. And that's where things just took off from there. And that's how I got into advice.
Oh, nice. So in the quest for like learning more and trying to figure things out with with the plethora basically of
That's
like
right.
the things that we need to take care of in our finances, you became a financial advisor. Did you foresee yourself like staying in the industry for a long time?
Yes, in fact, I do see myself in industry. In fact, I researched deeply on personal finance, and I even completed a doctoral dissertation in personal finance and graduated in a doctorate in business administration this year. So it is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so this is sort of like, a very personal, for me, it's very personal and a very deep conviction for the industry and for what I'm doing now, actually.
Oh, that's wonderful, Selena. So, like, you really dove in, and stayed in the deep end. That is because, and I've heard this before, like in the quest, and maybe as well for me, it's the same thing. Like in the quest of trying to find like the best way to handle our finances, we also got into the industry to learn more and also to share, because I think that you think of the same way, like whatever it is that whatever questions you had with your own finances, it, for sure there are a lot of people who had similar questions, and similar concerns as well. So because you've become a financial advisor, and a few like years passed, and you're still here in the industry, and you're planning to do more. You've already had your dissertation, and I also read here that you are, and I mentioned this earlier, that you have a capital market services representative's license. Is that different from the license that you get when you become a certified financial advisor?
Okay, actually, in Malaysia, we don't have a title called certified financial advisor. What we have over here is the title that we use, which is the licensed financial planner. So we have a regulation board here in Malaysia called the Securities Commission of Malaysia. So in order to be licensed to provide financial planning services, okay, you need, for me, I am actually attached to a capital market services license holder. That is my principal. And when I'm under the principal, then I will be the license holder. Therefore, the certified, the CMSRL, okay, the Capital Market Service Representative's license. So we are actually a representative, all right, and we are licensed under Securities Commission to provide financial planning services.
I see.
Yes.
I get it now. Okay, wonderful. And aside from that, you're also an FAA certified training professional. Like, can you tell us more about that?
FAA is the Finance Accreditation Agency, And in order for us to provide training in Malaysia to the financial institutions, one of the requirements is that we need to be finance certified training professional. So with this certification, we are able to provide training services to financial institutions.
Ah, wonderful. And so, like, why did you get this type of certification? Like, what are the benefits aside from obviously being able to provide training for businesses?
Yeah. The certified financial training professional is actually, a program that we go through. It's sort of like a train the trainer program. Okay. And with this certification, we are actually able to conduct financial education training. And just to tell a little bit more, we are now actually, one of the projects that I'm actually involved in is called the Employee Financial Wellness Program, that is organized by the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia in collaboration with BFM Radio. So this program will actually target corporates, okay? And it consists of financial literacy workshops for employees. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
That's right.
And so there's you have more reach in terms of like helping other people. So you're now able to help large groups, employees of a certain company in financial planning. Do you
That's right.
get some of your or most of your clients from these types of trainings?
Yes, in this case, actually, primarily, I get my clients primarily through referrals from existing clients. Yeah, men who find, whenever they find great value from my service, so they will actually refer me to their friends or family members. In addition, yes, I think that I do get inquiries as well from participants who attend my webinars, and some also from those who listen into my radio talk shows.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one way. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So yes, I'm glad that you mentioned that you also have, you also provide, do you call it service? I don't think so. But you also have a talk show through the radio. How did you go about branching to that?
All this actually is because I'm actually a member of the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
And FPAM, okay, that's actually the short form. Okay, FPAM actually has collaborations with some of these radio stations. So at any point that, whenever the service of a financial planner or whenever there's a panelist required for anything related to financial planning, then it actually goes back to FPAM, and they will actually recommend some of the financial planners to take up the roles.
Oh, wonderful. And one of those it's going to be you. And like, do you like how does the show work? Do you have like a weekly show where you discuss about personal finance or financial management?
Yeah. Some of these are actually based on a series of personal finance talks. Okay, and you can have different topics every week, say for like about 6 to 8 weeks, and we have different speakers who come up to speak about financial planning, about retirement planning, about what do you call that, about budgeting, money management, perhaps about retirement planning, investments planning, tax planning, and so on. I mean, the whole spectrum of financial planning. So it's actually so wide, and we actually have different shows with different topics and with different panel speakers.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I think this is an interesting question for our listeners. So, you are a financial advisor and you also have a talk show on the radio. And obviously, these like services that you offer or the things that you do require some kind of confidence in public speaking. So, as a financial advisor, I think that public speaking is such a crucial skill to have. But I wonder, have you always had, or have you always been comfortable in public speaking even before you became a financial advisor?
In my capacity, in fact, I started off before setting up before being a part of this private health facility. I actually started off my career as a lecturer and a trainer
Ah,
way back. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
So that's why it's really like normal for you, and I guess organic for you to train to get like the training certification.
Yes, I would think so. Yeah. So it was actually where I started, but it was actually where my career started. I actually started in lecturing in the academia and
Mm.
also in training and development before moving on into managing a company. And after which, being introduced to certified financial planning, and I became a licensed financial planner after that.
Ah, wonderful. And so it was very like normal for you to teach and speak and train and coach. But I guess I wanted to ask this question because some financial advisors are good at speaking at one-to-one conversations with one particular client or even two, but they don't want to first like some like financial advisors that I've reached out to don't want to like guest in the podcast because they're scared to I guess to have their voice or something like that into the interwebs, or they're afraid to go on like talk shows or radio shows or even do like a training session with a group of people. Like how do you think what would help those kind of financial advisors to explore more on these type of or expand their services? Because I feel like especially right now it's very helpful for your career as a financial advisor to have all these things.
Yeah. Yes, actually, yes, I do agree, especially now in COVID times when, everyone sort of like they are on social media and everybody is tuning in to some webinars or some radio talk shows somewhere. So being able to speak in public, therefore you're actually able to reach out to a much wider audience. Okay, so if you are actually thinking about branching out, I guess it is important to have the confidence to do so. Okay, just look at try to do some self reflection on the areas that you may be weak, that you think that you are weak at, or maybe the areas that you are not competent in, and improve on those areas. Okay, build your confidence in those areas, and yeah, you will fly right after. I don't see a reason why. Yeah, yes, everything will be well thereafter.
Yeah, like, and so I wanted to get our listeners advice from you because for someone in the financial advice sector who's doing well, who's been in the industry for quite some time, and who's also because I haven't encountered a lot of financial advisors who has gone into radio or to talk shows or training multiple or a whole company, so employees of a certain company. So I think that it's very helpful to hear that, for them to hear that from you. And I guess, oh, okay, so going back to your financial advice business, since you've been in the industry for quite some time now, do you have like an ideal client?
Well, I work mostly with senior and C-suite executives who are in their mid-career and pre-retirement stages. But however, to debunk the myth that financial planning is only for high net worth individual, okay, frankly, I also work quite a bit with young adults and young professionals. And because I actually have this belief that financial planning is not only for those who are just, who are high net worth, but it's actually absolutely essential for those who are just starting out in their career, especially the young adults and young professionals. So for this group of people, it is actually mainly for me to educate them, educating them on the importance of financial literacy, and at the same time, getting them to leverage, on the available resources or tools that are available, on the internet.
Yeah, because I think it's very, and I think I mentioned this in a previous podcast as well, that here in the Philippines, there is that mentality too, like financial advice is only um, for the above middle class or the rich people. And I feel like it's not, it's something that we have to educate people
Yes.
against, because um, financial advice is for everyone. That's why it's called an advice. Just like any advice, it's for everyone, and as well as financial management. So the more that you're in tune with your management, and some people even say that they can manage their own finances just fine. And I'm also one of those people for a very long time, until I realized that I wasn't doing very well with my finances, because although I wasn't in debt, like I also didn't have a retirement plan. So, and that's where financial advisors come in, right? Like you guys are the ones who help your clients see the bigger picture, as well as the potential for your clients' money.
That's
And
right.
yeah, and so I guess basing on that, like how do you propose your or how do you position your value as a financial advisor to prospective clients, say?
That's right. Okay, just going back to the point that you were talking about, financial planning is for everyone. Okay, something just came into my mind. Like I too, just like you, Gwen, and perhaps just like many of the listeners in today, I too, about say 15 years ago, I really wish at that point that I had a fiduciary planner or advisor that
Mm,
came to me and offered me sort of like a comprehensive financial planning solution.
yeah,
Someone would actually, yes, we know our goals, we know our needs, we know how to manage our money, but sometimes we need that extra person there to help us understand our needs and goals. And also to help, to give us a hand in mapping out our financial journey.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, and looking back again, I think that this would have saved me years of
yes,
experimentation,
yeah,
a lot of trials and error,
mm,
and not to mention also the time and money that was wasted because
yeah.
I didn't make the optimal financial decision.
I know. Same goes here. So definitely, I think like a very specific example for myself is that I've always wanted to get an insurance policy after I graduated. But then my parents, because they both had really bad experience with insurance before, they would tell me like it's a scam, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that went on for a decade, until I actually married a financial advisor. So my husband, he didn't really uh, like encourage me to do anything, but because he was very passionate about financial advice, and I would listen to him, like when he was still starting out, I would listen to him like do mock interviews with or like mock conversations, and he would also I would also become a guinea pig for him.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that, hey, I wasn't doing like half of the things that he was um, advising to his clients, basically. So, and that was when like he was still like my partner, he was still my boyfriend, and I realized like, hey, there are a lot of things that I thought that I was doing good already with my money, but now that I think about it, like I haven't been saving for this, like I didn't realize my emergency fund was low. Like I thought that
Mm-hmm.
it was good and all of that stuff. And I know some of my friends who didn't even have like a type of financial security if times go bad. And
Yeah.
so I also realized like, hey, there should be more financial advisors who are willing to educate these people, or more people into convincing them that financial advice is really for everyone.
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
yeah, because like I'm sure, or maybe you've been into this situation, like you felt like you were confident with how you've handled your money, and then an unexpected event occurs, and then you've fallen off track.
That's right.
Yeah, right. And so so now I'm very passionate about financial advice, and also with regards to you, and that's why we started this podcast, is I guess to help other financial advisors learn how to become better by like listening to this podcast and hearing, best practices from other financial advisors such as yourself as well.
Yeah, that's right. So going back to the question, you
Yeah,
said that
sidetracked.
yeah, we got sidetracked for a while. Yeah, how would I position myself as a financial planner?
Mm,
Okay. Now I actually look whenever I sign on a client,
mm,
and we have our discovery call to see our match. Okay, and when they are signed on, the first thing that I normally look at is I look at where they currently are, okay, financially and in life as well, and relative to where they want to be. All right, yeah, and then we will work together. Okay, and my advisory is actually what I would call an integrated financial planning service. And my advisory model is solution oriented and focuses mostly on the discovery and attainment of my clients' life and financial goals. So after coming to understand all the underlying beliefs, okay, all the externals as well as the internals. Okay, externals will be their numbers and so on, and the internals, okay, how they
how they
think.
feel, yeah.
That's right, how they feel about things, what is their perspective about a certain issue and so on. Then we will look at the tools and whatever solutions necessary to formulate a personalized strategy for them to be able to achieve their life and financial goals. And one thing that I've actually learned over the years is, as a financial planner, I think it is actually important, okay, in empowering my clients to make better lifestyle choices, because we can actually tell them, okay, this is the best. And for example, you should save up 6 to 12 months of emergency funds, for example. Okay, but in the end, it's actually still up to them whether they are willing or they are able to commit to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would actually also, as a financial planner, it will also we actually have to think of ways how to empower our clients to want to achieve that. Okay, help them. I always strive to help develop a healthier financial mindset for my clients, so that they are able to make this well-informed life and financial decisions.
Yeah, that's right, because you won't always be there to tell them like, no, that's a bad financial decision, or this one is a good one, you should get this. So I think that that's very important as well, for a financial advisor to be able to plant the seed on to your client in order for them to have that uh, something in their heads would click, right? Like
That's right.
when they make, or before they make a purchase, or they before they make their own financial decisions, they can look like step back and say like, would Selina think this would be a good financial decision if I go for this, or would this be helpful for my finances if I buy this?
That's right. That's right. So I think that it's not only about advising in this case, but it's all also about empowering them to make better choices.
Yeah, and because of writing into that, like, do you offer an ongoing service for your client, or is it like a 3-month program that you do for them? Yeah, or like for a certain period of time.
Mm, it actually depends on what kind of what their goal is actually. Because sometimes as a financial planner, it's actually common to take on clients and write the financial plan, and after 3 months, and there's no more contact, or no more further meetings with them. But for me personally, I would think that a financial planning relationship should be a long-term journey,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah, so generally in the earlier stages, I would think that my newer clients, I will meet them every weekly or even fortnightly, and subsequently on a monthly basis, just for we meet up basically to chat and see how they are, okay, how are they moving towards their goals, and how is life, okay, and how has it affected their plan in achieving a certain goal, that kind of thing. And thereafter, it will actually be more of like 6 monthly, half yearly, or a yearly review. But
Yeah.
very much depends on the client, because sometimes they do need to come see us also, or they have an issue that they need to sort out. So they will call up and say, "Oh, can we meet up so and so?" Yeah, then that's where we'll just come on again and speak to them actually.
Yeah, and I think that you're absolutely right when you said that you should have, or ideally, financial advisors should have an ongoing relationship with their clients, because as we talked about earlier, we are like or financial advisors are the cheerleaders. So you're not only coaches, but you're also cheerleaders to your clients. You empower them to make better financial decisions. But sometimes, especially if it's just like a 3-month program, after that program, their situation, their financial situation, or their life situation tends to change. And maybe they lose that empowerment because there's no one there to empower them or to help them, when times get down, or maybe the situation change. Like this client of yours used to be single, and now he or she is expecting their like first child, and so that changes, and it's not going to be the same program that you've created for that 3 months. It's going to be different, right?
That's right. You're right about that.
Yeah, and so I would really prefer or encourage, I guess, clients to do like a lifelong relationship, similar to, I would say, I would akin this to having a long-term relationship with your physician, right? So if you have like the same physician for a long time, it's a good idea to keep that, because they already know you. They know like what your allergies are, your medical history, and so it's easier for them to provide you with a sound medical advice. So kind of the same for financial advisors, that financial advisors already know like your spending habits, your tendencies, with regards to how you spend your money, or like when you spend your money, if your clients are emotional spenders. And so you form this relationship, you know their background and stuff, so it's easier for you to formulate a plan for them in case any like situation in their life change.
Absolutely. You got it right there, Gwen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm just explaining this because I know that there will be some stray listeners out there who are not financial advisors. So it's good to have, I guess, educate them, and maybe hopefully they look for a financial advisor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If they haven't had already. So yeah, and also I guess now this question is definitely for financial advisors, specifically for the new ones that are out there who are still starting out in the industry. Like, how do you acquire, or how have you acquired clients who has become um, your number one fans, so those who constantly refer you, their friends, their family? So how are you able to acquire those?
Well, generally, referrals from existing clients is that when they actually find great value from the kind of service that we offer them, and also from the trust and the bond that we have with them. Okay, going into a financial journey with a person is like kind of like a hand holding, kind of like a long-term relationship. So when my clients they come to the awareness, or when they realize that this is my perspective of how things work, versus those perhaps some who actually have shorter term views about a financial journey or a financial plan. Okay, they will realize that the value actually comes from this personalized, long term and committed relationship that I give to them. And most importantly, I think it's the fiduciary services. Okay, I'm unbiased in my advices that I give them. I'm very transparent, and everything is transparent between the client and I. Okay, especially when it comes to fees and commission and the kind of money that they pay. I think they are concerned. One of the main concerns is that, and how transparent we are, and also on the fiduciary advices that we give them, whether we are unbiased in the kind of investments or insurance or even estate planning service that we provide them. Yes. So I always have my clients' interest in heart, their best interest in my heart. And somehow, that is what they realize after some years. And this is the kind of value that they see, and therefore refer me on to their other friends or even family members.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So because part of the majority of the financial advisors that I've talked to in this podcast is or are already years and years in the industry, and I think 90%, if not all of them, rely on referrals now for their business. And it's kind of interesting because if I talk to, or when I talk to financial advisors who are still starting out, part of the reasons why they find the industry difficult is because it's hard for them to find clients who will trust them, who would give their money for their services, right? So when you started out in the financial advice industry, how are you taking on clients? Were they referred to you at the start, or did you have to do calls, or call people, or have this list where you do cold calling?
I guess I'm kind of fortunate because I actually know of some financial advisors. I'm not sure about planners. I think most licensed financial planners, we don't do cold calls. Okay, yeah, that's right. And I'm actually quite fortunate because I started out as a full-fledged licensed financial planner, meaning that I was not, tied to any agencies or any insurance or unit trust agencies before this. So when I started off in financial advice, it was right into financial planning, being a licensed financial planner. So at that point, it was actually more of referrals. And also, like what I mentioned to you earlier, through the kind of podcasts, not podcasts, through the webinars, and also through the radio talk shows. And also we get referrals from our advisory itself. Sometimes when people call up the advisory, and we get the cases referred to us directly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
you already have a different avenues in where you acquire your clients. And I guess so. I'm sorry. I guess I got the naming wrong, because in Australia, so this podcast that we have originated in Australia. So there's also an XY Advisor podcast for Australia, and this one is XY Advisor for Southeast Asia. So in Australia, financial planner and financial advisors are actually the same, so they're interchangeable. And so I guess when I said financial advisor earlier, I actually meant financial planner, so I'm sorry for that. But I get your point. So in Malaysia, if you say financial advisor, they're more on the insurance agents or insurance advisors, whereas financial planners are those who are most likely not attached to any agencies.
That's right. Yes, we are actually called licensed financial planners in Malaysia, and you actually need to have earlier, like you said, the CMSRL license to be able to be a licensed financial planner and be able to offer advice on the whole spectrum of on all the different categories. That is from cash flow to risk management to retirement planning, investments, tax estate planning.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you need a licensed financial planner to be a licensed financial planner to offer this integrated, comprehensive financial planning solution.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful because it means that the advisor, the industry in general, is heavily regulated in Malaysia, making it something of a more, trustworthy in terms of the way the advice is provided. Because let's face it, especially now, you hear, like, I've seen a lot of, like, quote unquote financial advice in the internet. And when you check out that person who's providing financial advice, like, they're not licensed to do it. So if you follow that person's advice, and it fails, unfortunately, then you won't be able to, he doesn't, or that person does not have any, how do you call that? Like, he doesn't have, you won't have any claims to that because he's not regulated by a certain body in the government.
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
basically, giving out non-regulated advice, and that can be actually quite dangerous. Yeah, especially in this Asian time where everyone has access to the social media, and there are a lot of investment gurus and financial advisors just popping up everywhere, offering us all kinds of schemes, investing, in fact,
Fast cash.
fast cash, get rich quick kind of
Yeah,
thing.
get rich quick. Yeah.
So we need to be wary actually with the people whom you're going to work with and the kind of people whom you sign up with, do a background check on them. In Malaysia, you're actually able to go to the Securities Commission website and do background check on the person that you're gonna work with, because we actually have a register of registered persons and companies who are licensed. Okay, and if at any point that you realize that you do not see their name there, or when you do a background check on them on the Securities Commission website and it does not appear, all right, then you need to be wary about this.
Definitely, because well, as we mentioned again, it's very hard to rely on the advice of people who maybe did not really study their advice well, or did not have any financial background up until the time that they've provided the advice. That's so true. Well, Selina, I'm so happy to be chatting, and you have definitely provided ton of golden nuggets in our short, or it's not really short, but in the context of like the day that we have, the 45 minutes that we have. Thank you so much. But before we end the podcast, I guess my final question is, like, can you give us an advice for upcoming financial advisors on how they would make this industry, or become a financial advisor, like a permanent career?
All right. For those who are actually just starting out in the industry, I guess the most important is to have the level of knowledge, sufficient level of knowledge to be able to carry out your duties and responsibilities. Okay. Work hard. I would say you really need to dig really deep inside you to be able to work hard and strive to achieve what you want to achieve. Okay, and it will pay off. Okay, whatever that you want to achieve, you will be able to achieve it. It will pay off all the hard work that you put into it.
Thanks so much, Selina. And I think that's absolutely true. Knowledge needs to go hand in hand with the will to do the things that you've already learned. So thank you so much for being on the show. I had a wonderful time speaking with you. I hope you had the same.
Yeah, most welcome, Glenn. Really, really a pleasure to speak to you today.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too, Gwen. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.